Hello, I'm Alison Butty, Head of Student Advice and Wellbeing at SOAS, and welcome to this webinar. This is my first webinar, so bear with me. So I'm going to outline a little bit of our services and what we do, and if you're joining in, please do list your questions and I'll come back to those at the end. And maybe if you're logging in, just say a little bit about yourself, what interests you, who you are, and what you would like from the session. If there's anything that you'd like to ask which seems more confidential, then do email directly and I'll answer more personally. So Student Advice and Wellbeing is an integrated collection of specialist services within SOAS. Like a lot of universities in the UK, SOAS sets a high premium on supporting its students and offering them specialist services to back up the academic progression and to ensure that they're able to thrive during their stay here at SOAS. So the first thing I'm going to do is to show you the range of services that we offer here while we're at SOAS. So as you can see, we have a range of services. We have student advisors, 2 advisors, and they cover some of the more practical things about studying here. We have an immigration advisor who helps students to deal with visas. We have a finance and housing advisor who deals with hardship funds and housing applications. I'll say a little bit more in detail later on about each of these services. We have a student counselling service. We have disability and dyslexia service for those students who are categorised or would see themselves as having a disability or having dyslexia. We have a mental health and wellbeing advisor, and all of the services are underpinned and supported by our reception and information, where my colleague is often the first point of call for students who come in person, and she also picks up all the emails and the phone calls. So we're just listing here some of the things that students come to us about regularly during their time here. What we like to say is that nothing is too small or too large for you to bring to us. We will do our best to try and find a way through a problem or to resolve a concern or to get you to see the right person if we're not the right place for you to be. So some of these are likely to impact on students early on in their time here. Some are likely to develop during the academic year or subsequent academic years. So you can imagine with the student fees, both for international and UK students, money problems are often a concern for students, and money can cause stress, and some of the solutions to money problems, such as part-time work, can also create pressure on your study. Students are often coming to us because they are facing deadlines and feeling that they're left their work to the last minute. I think procrastination is something that affects everybody, but it is very common in the academic setting, not just among students, but among academics as well. Students may be worried about friends. We'd like to promote a community here at SOAS and to encourage students to look out for each other and to support each other in many ways. So we regularly see students who are coming because they're concerned about a friend or flatmate's well-being. There might be some specific things that need to be resolved. So a student visa may need renewing, or maybe a problem with the student visa. You may have had an assessment as a dyslexic student and need to have some reasonable adjustments made, some liaison with your academic staff or special arrangements for exams, and we're doing that regularly during the year, coming up for that now with the exam season not so far away. Sometimes there may be emotional issues, so you may feel anxious. being in a new country, or being in a new city, or being in a new university, studying a course that you've not done before, with the demands that an academic program makes. It's meant to be challenging, but those challenges can give rise to anxiety, and anxiety is probably one of the commonest things that students come to talk to us about. Particularly at the beginning of the year, but just not only at the beginning of the year, students may feel a degree of loneliness. You know, sometimes coming to a new place where you don't know the ropes so much, or you don't have so many familiar people around you. It's a very strange experience, I think, being in an environment where you are put together with probably thousands of people that you've never met before. Even at SOAS, which is a relatively small institution of only 5,500 students, it is a strange experience, one that you don't have very often in your life. And we are very used to talking to students about understanding the feelings of loneliness and looking at those ways that you can start making connections. And we support students in various ways to engage more fully with the student life, with their course mates, flatmates, joining societies, and so on. Study can also be confusing. You know, if you knew everything there was to know about the new subject you're studying, then you probably wouldn't need to be here. But sometimes studying a new subject, or studying writers that you've not read, studying academic subjects in depth, can lead to a sense of confusion. Some of that confusion can lead you to wonder whether you're on the right course, and we have a lot of flexibility here, and we are very happy to talk to students about their choices and to make sure that they're studying the right thing and they're feeling more confident about what they're studying, whether that means talking to academic staff, coming to talk to us, or coming and talking to the learning and teaching specialist department. Students are often struggling with sleep. The student lifestyle seems to impact on sleeping quite often, and we are doing more and more work these days to help to manage sleeping patterns and to help to deal with common things like insomnia. And then if you're not sure who to talk to, as I said, we usually can try and get you to the right person. So we try to make sure that nobody is left wondering where to go or how to seek help. If anything, at the beginning of the year, you'll find all sorts of people encouraging you to come and to seek help. It really doesn't matter who you go to. We work closely together, and we always work to make sure that students are getting the help that they need. So this is essentially what we do. We're a department of specialist staff. So we are here to help you to deal with those things that affect your study and well-being, practical things and personal things. So although we're not involved in the day-to-day teaching, the work that we do is very closely associated with study and study progression. We believe very firmly that study is not just something that happens in your head or in your brain, that it's something that happens with your heart and your emotions. And if you're feeling well emotionally, you're feeling well in your kind of wider social and family life, and your well-being is good, then your study is likely to benefit from that as well. All of the services that I listed to begin with, and I'm going to say a little bit more about, operate with a combination of drop-in times and appointments. We do this deliberately so that the drop-in times are often the first way to contact us. That means you can turn up without having to pre-arrange. You can just come and you'll get a short consultation with one of the teams when we've identified who it is that you should see initially. And we will then be able to discuss with you what the next steps and options may be. However, although that is the first point of contact, often a drop-in time will lead to a longer appointment, because a lot of things need more time than the 10 or 15 minutes that we use in a drop-in. So you'll get a specified appointment time with one of these specialist areas, and that would be time to talk in more depth. If you feel you don't want to use a drop-in time, you want to go straight to an appointment, we can do that as well. There are lots of students who don't feel the need to come and speak to us in person, but do use our web information and self-access resources. And we are building more and more in our library of self-access resources. And they cover a whole range of topics for students to look at. Quite a lot of the resources are interactive as well, so it's not just a question of downloading a leaflet, but they have activities for you to engage with as well. Alongside the one-to-one work, which is a substantial part of what we do, we offer a number of groups and workshops across all of the services. So we might have a workshop specifically for students with specific learning differences. We've offered what we call a super reading workshop for dyslexic students to help raise the reading speed. It's a very innovative and interactive program. We run groups on quite common issues to encourage students to see that they're not alone, and also to share experiences and to share ideas. Some of the more common ones will be procrastination, will be anxiety, managing exams, managing study stress, managing the pressure of deadlines. And we've been running a mindfulness group regularly for several years now, which students can drop into to learn some mindfulness practice and mindfulness techniques. So we hope it's a rich range of things to suit different needs, those students who want to see somebody one-to-one, those who are interested in groups, and those who want to look online. So here I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the services. So I'd said that the Student Advice Service, they offer the kind of practical information on some of the core things about student life, so housing, financial hardship, and immigration. So we have 2 advisors that cover those areas. They answer students' queries face-to-face, through email, through telephone calls. The counselling service provides professional counsellors and psychotherapists who are available to support students on any matter that might be affecting their study and their general well-being. So this works through often a series of regular sessions to explore a particular issue, to provide some space, time and listening to promote thinking and understanding, and an opening up of options, some support for addressing what may be difficult or painful issues. Some of those issues may be very immediate, and some of them may be long-standing. Whatever the case, we aim to provide a professional, confidential setting to make that easier to manage. Moving on to my colleagues in the Disability and Dyslexia Service, one of the things to say is that the disability advisors support students with a much wider range of medical and related conditions than most people imagine fall under the umbrella of disability. You know, we often think about a wheelchair user, or we think of somebody who may be blind or deaf, but disability also covers chronic health conditions. It covers unseen disabilities or medical conditions such as diabetes and epilepsy. It can cover things like repetitive strain injury. It can cover arthritis. And one of the most significant groups, growing groups of students who are using the disability service are those students with mental health conditions, as universities are becoming much more accessible and responsive to students right across the disability spectrum. We have a couple of specialist learning advisors who provide workshops and one-to-one support for students who are dyslexic dyspraxic or have ADD or ADHD. So as well as providing the learning support, we also assist you to access disabled students funding if you're eligible, and to work with faculties and academic staff to make sure that the necessary learning arrangements are in place. For some students, not all students, but for some students that will mean some extra time for coursework, some extra time in exams. It might mean specialist equipment, it might mean recording equipment or voice activated equipment, and we can help either to provide that or to ensure that you're able to access that. And then we have a mental health and wellbeing advisor who works more directly with those students with mental health concerns in a variety of ways. We're able to provide regular one-to-one mentoring appointments, either funded by your disabled students funding or funded by SOAS if you're not eligible. And we try to provide some shared activities. We have a very active Student Union Mental Health Society, and the Mental Health and Wellbeing Advisor works with that society. In a couple of weeks, like lots of other universities, we're going to be celebrating University's Mental Health Awareness Day. So where are we? Well, we're located in the Paul Webley wing. It's the brand new building that SOAS took over recently. We have our reception and our drop-in room in the lower ground floor of the student atrium area. So that's very easy to access. And then we have some consultation rooms elsewhere in the building. We're open regularly between 10 and 4:30 for initial inquiries, and we have appointments both within those times and at other times. So our aim at all times is to provide a friendly, welcoming, responsive, accessible service to students with as little wait as possible. So for those students who are going to be joining us in the new academic year, we look forward to meeting you then.